Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the back to the channel. We are back online. Before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Andrew. It is because of him that we are back. I got my internet back. I was able to help my family out a lot. So Andrew, not only from me, but from my family, my mother especially, she wanted to tell you thank you from the bottom of her heart. I cannot believe the generosity that you showed. I just really hope you know how much we appreciate it and how much you helped out. That was above and beyond anything we could have expected or anything. You know what I'm saying. I'm not good at the mushy stuff, but you know what I'm saying. So huge shout out to Andrew. Everybody be sure to thank Andrew down in the comments down below. So I'm just gonna do kind of a fire from the hip kind of video today. I finally finished the book Ready Player One, and everybody was saying that the movie was a huge letdown and all this, but I wanted to finish the book, read the book before I saw the movie. I actually got the book in a loot crate like 2 years ago, and I just kind of threw it to the side. I had no idea what it was. Biggest mistake ever, because the book is phenomenal. If you've not read that book, read that book. But that got me thinking. A lot of people have asked what books I read, what I recommend. So I was like, you know what, let's do a video and let you guys know what I recommend. A lot of stuff you're gonna see on other channels, it's kind of, you know, Atheist 101, some of these books. But I'm gonna throw a couple of them in there that hopefully you haven't heard of before, or if you have heard of them, you haven't got a chance to read them yet and you're wondering if they're any good, yada, yada, yada. First and foremost, I'm gonna start off with the Bible. More importantly, this one, the Skeptics Annotated Bible. It's a full version of the Bible, and in the, let me see here, let me find a good page. What it does is it will kind of translate what's being said, and it'll bring up contradictions and such right there on the sides and everything. Sorry, my light just went shit. Basically, for every verse that you read, it points out some kind of hypocrisy, some kind of mistake, you know, contradiction, anything like that. I cannot recommend this enough. Number one, read the Bible. If nothing else, know thy enemy. You gotta read the Bible. People, especially Christians, of course, are gonna throw passages at you. And there's just something about knowing that you've read their book and they haven't, because I have yet to run into a Christian who has read their book. They will spout what they've heard in church, you know, on Sundays. The guy in the funny hat tells them, but they have yet to sit down and read their book cover to cover. I am actually on my 8th time reading that book. It is a long read, of course, but it's worth it, especially if you want to start getting in debates and you come across someone who wants to spout Bible verses at you. While we're on the subject, outside of the Bible, the Book of Mormon. That's another really fun read. So Book of Mormon's a good one. Any of your religious texts. I don't have a Quran. I wish I did. The Bhagavad Gita is another good one. Don't have that. Not all the books I'm going to recommend do I have here either. Most of my books, I've got them in audio format and hard copies, but I can't find some of my books. They're still packed and stashed away, so bear with me on that. So number one, read the Bible, Book of Mormon, you know, Quran. Anybody you run into or debate, it's good that you know your shit before you get into that. So another great one, we're gonna talk about Richard Dawkins. Everybody knows the Dawkins, you know, the God delusion and all this. The Greatest Show on Earth is a great one, but believe it or not, I'm going to recommend reading The Ancestor's Tale by Richard Dawkins. That is by far, I'm not gonna say by far one of the best books, but when it comes to like the evolution and stuff like that, it'll give you a better grasp, especially if you don't really know the full story of evolution and all that. It's just a really good starting point. The Ancestor's Tale is a phenomenal book that talks about evolution, how we came to be, and all that. So all of Richard Dawkins' books are great, but The Ancestor's Tale is a phenomenal one to start with, especially. Beyond that, we've got, of course, God Is Not Great by Christopher Hitchens. That's one that every atheist recommends. Every channel that you see that is doing a book recommendation will have this book in it. Believe it or not, one of my favorites by him is actually The Portable Atheist and his last book, Mortality. If you've not read Mortality, you owe it to yourself to read Mortality. It's almost a life-changing thing, and I think it really hit me because my mom's cancer and such. So it was basically, he wrote that book while in his last stages, let's just say that. A phenomenal book. If you don't tear up by the end of that book, there is something seriously wrong with you. So Mortality, of course, read God Is Not Great. It's a phenomenal book too. The Portable Atheist especially, great book. Get that one. And Mortality, you owe it to yourself to read Mortality. Let's go to the man, the late great Stephen Hawking. Everybody talks about A Brief History in Time. That's another one you see on all these lists. But believe it or not, I mean, it's a great book. That's not what I'm recommending. I'm going to either recommend Grand Design or the one I really want to put on this, and this is going to cost you a pretty penny. I think it's like $80 or something like that. I can't remember. No, maybe it's not that much. It says $22.95, so I was way off. I could have sworn I paid a lot more money for that. On the Shoulders of Giants. Thick ass book. It'll take you a while to read it, but the insight in it, especially if you love history like I do, if you're a big history nerd, Shoulder of Giants. It will take you a while to read it. You will definitely get your money's worth out of this book. Can't recommend that one enough. One that's not so much atheist, just because, you know, we're just talking about books I love, is it's called the 48 Laws of Power. All right, and it's by Robert Greene. This is one of his books. I can't find my copy of the 48 Laws of Power. It's somewhere in here. But he's the same author of 33 Strategies. Yeah, 33 Strategies of War. The 48 Laws of Power, again, if you're like me and you love history, it delves deeply into history, because basically what it is, it's rules of life, rules of power to get ahead. And it has examples of people who have broken the rule and those who have set with the rule and accomplished great things. So it's got a lot of history behind it, and I love the history of that book. I've read that book probably more than any other book. There's just something about it. If you get on Audible, I can't remember who it is that reads it on Audible, but his voice is awesome. Like, I could listen to that dude read the book 24/7. All right, so 48 Laws of Power. If you don't have time to read it, get it on Audible, because a lot of Audible books kind of suck. I can't stand the voice of the people, the narrator. But the guy that read that book is absolutely amazing. What else do we got? Sorry, like I said, this is gonna be just kind of a shoot from the hip. I pulled a bunch of books. Of course, A Universe from Nothing by Lawrence Krauss. Everybody knows that one though. This one. Yeah, Coyne. I can't pronounce his name. I know I'm gonna butcher it. Why Evolution is True. Let me see if I can. Jerry A. Coyne, I guess. Coyne. Anyways, another one. If you don't know evolution very well, you find yourself getting in debates or arguments, or even just talking about evolution, and you don't really know where you stand, or you're just kind of bullshitting your way through it. First of all, don't do that, because people will call you out on it. If you don't know, just say I don't know. But that is a very good place to start as well. So if you can't get your hands on The Ancestor's Tale, definitely get Why Evolution is True. Get both, but Why Evolution is True, that's a page turner. He did a really good job with that book. The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins as well. That's a good one. Really got. This one sucks. I read so many books that I'm afraid I'm gonna leave one out. We might have to do a part 2, 3, whatever. Welcome to the Universe, Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's been out, I want to say like a year, maybe 2. Another phenomenal book. This is a great book because it talks about the cosmos and physics and everything, but it kind of does it from a layman's point of view. He wrote the book so everybody would understand it, and he did a phenomenal job at it. If you've never seen the show Cosmos that he did, he kind of did the same thing with that. So if you have seen Cosmos, imagine that, but in book form. He did a very good job explaining some of these scientific principles and the way everything works, to where it's fun it's entertaining and you can understand what he's saying. So it's a really good starting point as well for anything relating to the cosmos and such. Phenomenal book, especially if you don't have a science background and stuff like that. So like I said, he also just keeps it fun. I know I'm kind of blowing through these guys, but got a lot of books, and like I said, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip. Last one I'm gonna talk about, it's one of my favorite books. I am going to butcher this guy's name, so I'm not even gonna try to say it. I will just hold it up. The book's called Paradox. Jim Al-Khalili? Yeah, Al-Khalili. Jim Al-Khalili. Paradox, the 9 greatest enigmas in physics. Basically what this book is everybody knows what a paradox is. You know, can't go back in time and shoot your grandfather because then you won't exist to go back into time to shoot your grandfather, right? This book talks about widely known paradoxes and how they're not actually paradoxes, how there are solutions to these paradoxes. So I found it to be a really insightful read, because some of them I thought were true paradoxes as well, but the thought that he puts into it and how he explains how they're not really a paradox, there is a solution to them, is just fascinating to me. I'm a huge nerd. I love paradoxes, and science and everything like that. So maybe it's not your cup of tea, but if you are fascinated by paradoxes, I don't know, I'm struggling with that word today. If you're fascinated by paradoxes, it's a really good book to pick up. And it actually kind of blew my mind, because some of them, like I said, some of them that I thought were paradoxes, I used to spout them all the time. Now it's more fun, because if you hear someone else say, oh, it's like the paradox of yada yada yada, you can be like, well, actually, that's not a paradox, and you can explain why. And that's always fun to do. I mean, that's what we do here on YouTube. We find people who are saying stuff that don't make a whole lot of sense or aren't true, and we kind of correct them on it. So that's basically what I got for now. I'm sure we'll do a part 2. I just really wanted to, as soon as I got the internet back and everything, I wanted to make a video. I especially wanted to thank Andrew. I wanted to thank all of you for your support. You guys are amazing, sticking with me. And not only that, but like, we've grown. The channel, we hit 1,700 subscribers. That's fucking mind-blowing. Godless Cranium, can't thank you enough either. I know a lot of y'all came over from his channel. He has been absolutely amazing. If you have not seen Godless Cranium, go check out his channel and subscribe. You will not be disappointed. The dude is not only phenomenal at what he does, but he's just a great human being. He's been a good friend, an ear that listens to me. He gives me advice on just life and everything else, which is amazing. He's younger than me, but you know, he's genuinely a great guy. So be sure to go check him out. Show him some love. Tell him I sent you over there. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Once again, thank you, and I will see you all in the next video.